Damien ZYGOTE lingered at the frayed edge of Unity, Maine, less a man than a relic, a figure stitched from the scraps of a life that unraveled long ago. 35 years old, he inhabited a body halted at 13, slight yet burdened with shoulders too wide and hands too large, an awkward symmetry that suggested something crafted rather than born. His eyes, black and sharp, cut through the dim like blades, and that bowl cut, absurd, archaic, framed a face marked by a scar and stripped of eyebrows. A choice he'd made after his mother's cancer devoured her 9 years back. His father had faded slower, growing old and sleepy after her death, dozing through days and nights in a worn armchair until 2 years ago he slipped away in his sleep, peaceful, but leaving Damien adrift. Unity didn't know him. He was the recluse of the Pine Hollow Inn, a silhouette behind smeared glass, and the town spun tales. Murderer, ghost whisperer, a thing not quite human. They never guessed at the bedside vigils, her flesh shrinking to bone, his father's soft snores fading to silence, leaving him hollow with only the inn as a shroud. The Pine Hollow slumped off Route 19, a roadside carcass of warped boards and cracked panes, its neon vacancy sign pulsing like a dying vein. Inside, it reeked of dust and something sourer, a womb of neglect where time festered. His mother had once ruled it, her voice a whip even as sickness gnawed her, dressing him in frilly shirts and stiff vests, her perfect boy, her hands trembling as they smoothed his hair. He'd loathed the display, the way she'd offer him up to leering truckers, but love kept him still. His father had lingered after, a quiet ghost napping through the inn's decline until sleep claimed him fully. Now Damien drifted its halls, sweeping the porch with hands that didn't fit, sketching birds under a bulb that flickered like a moth's wing. The cellar door, gnarled oak behind the counter, stayed shut, a threshold he avoided, its pull a shiver he couldn't name. A week ago, a smell bled up from below, faint and acrid like sweat on rusted iron. He ignored it, hunched over his notebook, pencil tracing feathers while the radio coughed static and old hymns. The world's noise, the town's rumors, her fading gasps, his father's drowsy murmurs, faded into the hum. But the stench ripened, grew fleshy and rank, a living rot that coated his tongue and seeped into his sleep. Dreams writhed with shadows, too vast, too silent, their edges glistening as they hissed Damien. Damien in a voice thick with phlegm. Last night he jolted awake, sweat slicking his scalp, hands clutching the counter, whispering, "Stay down," to the void. He couldn't bear it. Flashlight trembling, he approached the cellar door, his eyes glinting in the half-light. The knob turned under his grip, and the stench erupted, raw, meaty, a wound unhealed. The stairs sagged as he descended, dust clinging to his hair, the air tight and moist, pressing against his skin like a lover's breath. The cellar pulsed with damp earth and something darker, the floor slick as if kissed by unseen lips. Halfway down, a sound slithered forth, a slow, dragging scrape, wet and deliberate. His breath snagged, eyes darting. "Who's there?" he murmured, voice soft, fragile. Silence stretched, then the sound returned, closer, a caress across his nerves. The beam caught crates of mildewed paper, an icebox weeping black ichor, and a shadow, pulsing, too large, its edges fraying like torn flesh into the dark. The flashlight shook in his grip, hair brushing his eyes, and the thing moved, languid, deliberate, a predator savoring the hunt. "Stay down," he pleaded, voice cracking, tender against the cruel. It paused, air thickening with a scent of mud cold and yielding brushed his leg, a touch too intimate. He yelped, fled upward, legs tripping, shoulders scraping the frame. He slammed the door, wedged the stool against it, and sank behind the counter, chest heaving, eyes wide in the gloom. Hours later, he sat in the lobby's faint glow, radio hissing, notebook open to a sparrow half-formed, its lines blurred by shaking hands. The smell enveloped him, a lover's embrace gone sour, and the door rattled, soft, insistent, a pulse in the wood. The inn groaned, a beast exhaling, and he knew it was coming, knew it wouldn't wait. In the part of him still soothing their ends, he wondered if it had grown beneath the pine hollow all along, a tumour fed by their absence. "Damien, Damien," it purred, seeping through the cracks, and his pencil snapped. The rattling sharpened, a rhythm like knuckles on bone. The stool slid, screeching, and his breath caught, frame curling tight. His eyes flicked to the counter's edge as the door splintered, a crack blooming, wood peeling back like flayed skin. Something oozed through, not shadow but flesh undone, glistening, raw, a mass of sinew and veins.